Hello, everybody.
Happy hour.
Happy hour. What? What?
What's up with the hair?
Oh, stop.
No, last time you had a bad hair day, you had a cap on. Would you like me to go get your cap for you?
No, that's okay.
Or are you just comfortable?
I'm not as vain as you.
Hey now. That's right. My hair
his
has
hair
to
every
just
time we
right.
do a video and trim up the goatee and shave. What a diva! I swear. Wow.
This is Super Bowl Sunday, so this is gonna be Go Patriots Super Bowl happy hour.
If you're a Seahawk,
if you're a Seahawk fan, tough luck. You're gonna lose.
Wait a minute. Our friend Julian's probably a Seahawk fan.
Hey, Julian, Seahawks are gonna lose, buddy. No, excuse me. We did a video here not too long ago, within the past couple of days. We had talked about Watchtower bashing the Catholic Church for their practicing of excommunicating their members, and how Watchtower came down on the Catholic Church and telling them that their use of Bible scripture for their excuses for excommunicating people was misapplied.
Well, we'll read it. But, we just mentioned the article in passing, and now we have quite a few people asking, where is that article?
Yeah, where's the article?
Yep. And Jerry Jones called us, and he says, I guess it was even a subject of the 6 screens of Watchtower. So what I did is I went and I actually got the article. Now, I have the 1947 Awakes, and a PDF scan. So if you want them, let me know. But this is from the January 8th, 1947 Awake, and it's page 27. And this is the actual little article that we were talking about. Yeah. And I will put the link to the scan down below in the description, so that you guys can get it yourself. And then that way,
everybody has it.
Yeah, everybody has it, because, we want everybody to have this information. But the name of it is, Are You Also Excommunicated? Now, Jehovah's Witnesses, you have to remember that back in 1947, there wasn't a disfellowshipping, I don't even know if there was anything like an excommunication or shunning.
Yeah, there actually was, but it was really, you really had to be doing something extremely wrong. But over the years, if you have an opportunity to read that book that I was showing, was it Armageddon Must Wait or whatever it's called, you'll see that Watchtowers always practice an excommunication thing, but there were times when they became liberal about it, and then there were times they got more staunch about it. It was one of those things that it's never been a very constant thing with Watchtower. And to be excommunicated,
it's not like it is today.
You're right.
It wasn't like it is
communicated today. Back in them days, you really, really had to be, the evil slave.
Yeah. So, but this article is the one that we were talking about, and it's only about 4 paragraphs, so I'm just going to go ahead and read it. It says, if you are one of the 138 million people in the world that were born and raised as Protestants, then you are already excommunicated by the Roman Catholic hierarchy. This means that you are looked upon with the blackest contempt by the Vatican, being cursed and damned with the devil and his angels. See the Catholic Encyclopedia.
Well, wait. Isn't that what Watchtower says today? If you become an apostate, that you're going to die at Armageddon? Aren't you damned with the devil?
You're cursed and damned with the devil and his angels.
Yeah. Some of this old stuff is really funny to read.
Yeah. Well, then they have a quote from the Catholic Encyclopedia, with the foregoing exceptions: infidels, pagans, Mohammedans, and Jews, all who have been baptized, are liable to excommunication, even those Protestants who have never belonged to the true church. Sounds just like witnesses.
Now, see, back in 47, they're quoting from the Catholic Encyclopedia, and the Catholic Church is saying that they're the true church. Isn't it something how Watchtower says that they're the true religion?
Yeah.
They all do it.
Since by their baptism they are really her subjects, though of course rebellious ones. Moreover, the church excommunicates not only those who abandon the true faith to embrace Protestantism, or Protestant, schism or heresy, but likewise the members of heretical and schismatic communities who have been born therein. This old-time English, I swear. Okay, so then back to the article.
Yeah.
All those belonging to such lodges as the Masonic, Fenians, Independent Order of Good Templars, Oddfellows, Sons of Temperance, or the Knights of Pythias are also excommunicated. This is canon law which the Roman Catholic hierarchy seeks to enforce on the pretext that it is God's law. The authority for excommunication, they claim, is based on the teachings of Christ and the apostles as found in the following scriptures. Matthew 18:15 through 19, 1 Corinthians 5:3 through 5, and chapter 16, verse 22, Galatians 1:8 and 9, 1 Timothy 1, verse 20, and Titus 3:10.
Now, isn't it something that the upcoming Watchtower study, where they're reinforcing the disfellowshipping policy, isn't it funny that they go to 1 Corinthians 5? Exactly. See,
they use these scriptures.
Yeah, and yet they're telling the Catholic Church that this isn't how isn't how it was applied.
Okay, now this is the interesting part in this article in the Awake. But the hierarchy's excommunication as a punishment and medicinal remedy, then has parentheses, Catholic Encyclopedia, finds no support in these scriptures. In fact, it is altogether foreign to Bible teachings.
Hebrews 10, again.
Hebrews 10, 26 through 31. Let me repeat that, because this is what the Awake magazine, it says, but the hierarchy's excommunication as a punishment and medicinal remedy finds no support in these scriptures. In fact, it is altogether foreign to Bible teachings.
So when you're disfellowshipped in Watchtower, this is discipline from Jehovah. But notice what they say. It finds no support in the scriptures.
And that's what we were talking about, when we just mentioned this article in passing, how they were bashing the Roman Catholic Church for excommunication and using these scriptures to excommunicate people. And nowadays, these are the same scriptures that Jehovah's Witnesses use to prove disfellowshipping and shunning is scriptural.
Especially the ones in 1 Corinthians 5.
Yeah. So the article goes on. Where then did this practice originate? The Encyclopedia Britannica says that papal excommunication is not without pagan influence. Pagan influence. Jehovah's Witnesses, do you understand what they're saying?
Disfellowshipping is a pagan practice, you bunch of pagans.
And its variations cannot be adequately explained unless account be taken of several non-Christian analogues of excommunication. The superstitious Greeks believed that when an excommunicated person died, the devil entered the body, and therefore, in order to prevent it, the relatives of the deceased cut his body in pieces and boiled them in wine.
Oh, wait a minute. That just ruined happy hour.
Good thing I'm not drinking wine.
Good thing we're not having wine. Yeah, exactly.
Even the Druids had a method of expelling those who lost faith in their religious superstitions. It was therefore after Catholicism adopted its pagan practices.
Interesting that Watchtower uses that terminology in bashing the Catholic Church, and yet this is a very practice that Watchtower proudly uses.
Okay, so it was therefore after Catholicism adopted its pagan practices AD 325 that this new chapter in religious excommunication was written. Thereafter, as the pretensions of the hierarchy increased, the weapon of excommunication became the instrument by which the clergy attained a combination of ecclesiastical power and secular tyranny that finds no parallel in history. Princes and potentates that opposed the dictates of the Vatican were speedily impaled on the tines of excommunication and hung over persecution fires.
Watchtower, Watchtower, Watchtower. You know, it's very interesting that Watchtower will do enough research to tell its members that if you celebrate Christmas or birthdays, you're practicing paganism. But yet, when they research for Catholic Church to expose how wrong their excommunication practices, they discover it's a pagan practice that started this, but yet Watchtower doesn't wash its hands of that pagan practice. Come on, Watchtower. Good Lord, you people are so freaking stupid. It's pathetic.
So, like I said, I have the 1947 Awake the entire year on PDF, and I will put this link to it down below because you've got to read this for yourself.
I guess I should probably recant that. Rutherford was so stupid, it was pathetic.
Well,
Because
see,
you know what?
1947, wouldn't that have been Nor?
No, I think that still would have been Rutherford. I think that still would
Anyway,
have been Rutherford. But, you know...
Anyway, it's in their literature.
Their literature. So, Jehovah's Witnesses, when you really research your history, you really begin to realize how this organization could not be guided by God's laws. Because let's just face one epic fact. If the Catholic Church was practicing excommunication and the scriptural references that they're using, Watchtower is dissing. They're telling the Catholic Church, no, that's not how those scriptures apply. And then Watchtower turns around and starts using those scriptures. Then wasn't the Catholic Church right all along?
That makes Christendom
That
right.
makes Christendom the one that's God's blessing. It makes Christendom the one that God's directing, because Watchtower has found this out after the fact. Come on, JWs, wake up.
That makes the Roman Catholic Church
Right.
applying these scriptures properly then.
Yeah. So Jehovah's
Centuries
Witnesses.
ago.
So Jehovah's Witnesses, really, you've got nothing, because the Catholic Church had already the proper application. If Watchtower's following these today, then Christendom, Catholic Church had it right all along. Gee. Oh, yeah. So now, wake up. This is just madness. It's utterly madness. But then again, that's the January 8th, 1947. And I believe that was during Rutherford's day.
I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, I believe that was during Rutherford's day. Okay, well, anyhow, somebody will correct one of us. I'm sure of that. But we wanted to talk also a little bit about higher education.
Oh my goodness. We finally got a chance to watch the entire higher education January broadcast on jwtv.org, whatever it is. Wow.
Well, the thing that's so disturbing, if you haven't had an opportunity to watch it,
or want to bother,
please don't. Please don't go watch it. But, Tony...
We'll just give you the highlights.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I noticed right off the bat with this particular one, Tony, you're still my favorite little turd, But I really liked how you put on a purple tie and a purple little handkerchief right here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't purple a sign of royalty?
Well, like we said in our coffee, morning coffee with Mike and Kim this morning, even the brother doing the interview with the lawyer has a purple tie.
Now wait a minute. You're forgetting that we didn't do that this morning. We did it in a happy hour last night. We had to scrub that happy hour, remember?
But I thought we mentioned it in the coffee.
I don't think we did this morning. But anyhow, if we repeat this, then it's probably worth repeating.
Excuse us, because we're having a major brain fart trying to remember what was in the one we scrubbed and what was in the one we uploaded.
We actually did a happy hour last night, and we talked about my mom a little bit, her mom a little bit, and then we woke up this morning and we watched Mark Latham's video regarding his Thinking of You card. I forget the title right now.
JW Twist and Show.
Yeah, and so we thought, you know what? This works a whole lot better with what we were saying about our moms last night. But we also touched on a little bit about Tony Prime and him and that lawyer they interviewed. But
Tony Prime.
not Tony Prime.
See, brain fart.
Good Lord, Tony the Turd. Tony the Turd. But anyhow, hey, this is happy hour. This isn't scripted. This is happy hour. So I'm allowed to make those mistakes, ain't I?
Yeah.
Good grief.
Especially at your age.
Yeah, and you got to keep in mind, I've been forging all day with my buddy Garrett.
So he's been breathing in fumes.
Breathing in all these fumes. So I'm kind of like, I don't know, smoke high or something. But anyhow, getting back to the topic, I found it
higher
interesting.
Education.
Well, I found it interesting that Anthony Morris III has taken so much criticism from the XJW community that it seems like every time he gets in front of the camera, we can just rip this guy apart. And this time was no exception. But what I found very interesting is the fact that he had a purple tie and a purple handkerchief in his coat pocket. And, purple is a color that's associated with royalty. And I'm just kind of wondering if that when the dressing room dressed up Tony, whether they did that on purpose to give the impression, since he's of the anointed, he's also of the, of the royalty. Yeah, but like Kim said, we also noticed that the gentleman that interviewed the lawyer also had a purple tie on too. But I kind of think that was more coincidence than Tony. I think
so. If
Tony,
we repeat any of this, please excuse us, because like I said, we can't remember what was in the happy hour that we scrubbed and what was in the one we mentioned this morning because we weren't quite awake yet this morning. We hadn't had enough coffee. But one thing I noticed and we're not going to put the clips, so Watchtower can't, slam us with a copyright infringement. But what was interesting in this interview with this lawyer, the governing body asked him if he wanted to go to school to become a lawyer for them. They paid for his schooling. They paid for his
higher education.
And then after this long talk about how bad higher education is, and the lawyer is basically saying that he became a real ass and got a real bad attitude and started thinking more of himself than was necessary, because he was going to school. Going to school does not make you an ass. Obviously, you have
those traits were there to begin with. Exactly.
Yeah. Our daughter's been going to school for years. She hasn't changed.
No, she hasn't changed. Ass. Exactly.
She doesn't think more of herself than necessary.
In fact, she's even thinking more of the XJW community than ever before.
Yeah.
Because she's actually putting herself in a position to be, a counselor or, to be able to really, really help people escaping cults. So she's really doing this to help other people.
So like I was saying, so then this lawyer, he's basically saying that if you go to college, you can get a bad attitude. Well, then Anthony Morris comes back in and saying how bad, higher education is and gives some experiences through this whole talk of how bad higher education is. And it's like, oy vey, would it be better? And we need construction trades, because there's so much building going on. We need so many more kingdom halls and blah, 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 blah. So don't become a doctor or lawyer because they're not going to have those in the news system. They need construction workers.
Well, I found it quite interesting that when that lawyer was being interviewed, the lawyer pretty much said, go get a couple years worth of education. Learn to become a nurse, but not a doctor. And what was the other?
A paralegal instead of a lawyer.
Right. Learn to become a paralegal instead of a lawyer. That way there, as a nurse and a paralegal, you can find yourself part-time work, and then you could get into the full-time work. So let me get this straight, Mr. Lawyer. If I understand what you're saying.
Don't do like I did.
Yeah, really. What? Well, yeah, but he got a free ride. His meals are still paid, and I'll bet the farm that Watchtower is paying him $100,000 a year. But if I understand what you're saying, is you're saying go to school for 2 years, become a nurse, become a paralegal, work part-time so you can work free for Watchtower peddling Watchtower magazines. That's what you're saying. See, work part-time, secondly, so you can work full-time for Watchtower for free. wait a minute, that doesn't make sense anymore. That just don't make sense. Now, you know, the thing is when you watch the Happy video at Bethel, you're looking at one scene. They're in Watchtower's dental office. So all them it's a huge assumption, but forgive me if I'm assuming something.
No, we
but
do know.
I will bet that every Bethelite gets their dental work done for free. Don't they?
Well, we do know they do have a dental and medical department, because in this same broadcast, if I remember right, they are actually interviewing a doctor.
Yeah.
And isn't she talking?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But the thing that I got to question is that Watchtower tells all of its members that all your donations go to contribute to the worldwide work. Well, if my donated monies are giving Bethelite free dental care, then as a Jehovah Witness and part of the New World Order, the brotherhood, the spiritual paradise that we were all supposed to have lived in, wouldn't we qualify for free dental work if we went to New York or Bethel?
Yeah. What would happen if one of the brothers and sisters, one of the rank and file, just shows up at Bethel and says, "I can't afford medical or dental care. Can you guys help me?"
Can you take? And I guarantee you, their ass would be walking the streets again, and Watchtower would be laughing. But yet, Jehovah's Witnesses, look at that video. Look at how them people are living at your expenses. Look at how they're living at your expenses.
I take that back. The lady doctor sister was not in that particular January. It was in another video.
Yeah, it was in another video.
Yeah.
But the other thing, let's see, did we cover everything? We talked about.
But I wanted to mention at the very end, this was classic.
Yeah. If you're going to say what I think
Anthony
you're
Morris. Saying. Well, I don't know, because I don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah. I bet you we're on the same page.
Yeah, except now I forgot. Brain fart. But if I remember right, he concludes it.
You talking about the experience about the kid that went to school?
Yeah, well, you tell that while I'm trying to think what he concluded.
One of the experiences he used after they interviewed the lawyer, he talked about this witness family sent one of their children to college to get a higher education, and within a few weeks, because apparently he got this on a scholarship, so his parents encouraged him to use the scholarship and go to school. Full scholarship. And part of the scholarship was that they placed him in a co-ed dorm. And within a couple of weeks, he called up his mom and dad and said, "Hey, Mom and Dad, I don't think I can do this. Can I come back home? And apparently mom said, "No, you're going to stay there and you're going to get educated." And then, of course, being in a co-ed dorm, let's just human nature, people. One thing led to another. And all of a sudden, the family starts leaving Watchtower. The other siblings start leaving Watchtower. And Tony blamed the kid for going to school, the fact that the rest of the family
he mentions
left Watchtower.
That the parents divorced.
Yeah.
And the other siblings left the truth.
And
so how did the kid go into college, make his parents
do with that?
Get a divorce?
Tony.
Disconnected.
Dude, you're still my favorite little turd, no matter what kind of crap comes out of your mouth. But how can you blame a family dysfunction on somebody that went to school to learn? Because the thing is, Tony, is you didn't qualify any of that by saying, well, this young man went to school and he started learning the evolution theory and he started learning that God didn't exist, and he brought those teachings home to Mom and Dad, and he convinced Mom and Dad that, evolution is a fact. So Tony, you didn't qualify a damn thing. So you just can't blame the parents sending the kid to school for the family dysfunctional.
Or did the one who went off to college wake up and learn tat, and he came home and he woke up one parent and the other one decided to stay a witness, so they ended up getting divorced because one's an apostate now.
Right.
And then I can assume that the siblings all decided, they woke up and learned tat also, so they all left the truth. I mean, Tony, no details. You know,
Yeah, we
qualified.
want details.
Yeah, so we'll just have to make up our own story then.
But that's half the problem. Whenever you hear these experiences from Watchtower, nothing is ever qualified.
Yeah. And I just remembered what I wanted to do is how he summed this all up. And he makes the statement talking about Brumley, the brother they sent to college to become a lawyer and ended up being an ass. And apparently he's better now. But he says that we won't ever do that to anyone from Bethel again.
Yeah,
You know, if we need lawyers, you know, yeah, like the letter we just read, they'll ask the rank and file if any lawyers and
qualified.
paralegals, you know, can you come help us out, you know, here at Bethel. But
Yeah.
so we look forward to February's JW broadcasting because who knows what gems that's going to bring.
Yeah. You know what? I've said it before and I will say it again. Watchtower, you can't survive the internet. You can't survive people now that have absolute critical thinking, especially those like Kim and I that have been in for 40 plus years all our lives. And now we have access to things that were printed in the past. It doesn't matter whether Rutherford wrote an article telling the Catholic Church that their understanding of those scriptures that give them the power to excommunicate is wrong. It doesn't matter. Because what matters is that Rutherford, like you guys, Tony, and the rest of the governing body, or Nor, you all believed that God is directing you. You are God's channel. That means God is speaking to you. These things should have never, ever changed if God was really directing you.
You know, speaking of God's channel, I'm hoping in the future to be able to do a video about this. But Ryder Tallwoman, who's been a regular commenter, you know, and watcher of our YouTube channel, sent me a whole packet about channeling and how, you know, they keep claiming they're God's channel. And every definition is like, Jehovah's Witnesses, do you really want to be saying that? Because when you are God's channel, that means that you have a medium between you and God or spirit creatures or whatever. You have a medium.
Which really is the governing body, ain't it?
Is a spirit medium. So when you say that they're God's channel, you're actually calling the governing body a spirit medium.
Spirit medium. Exactly.
So like I said, we're hoping to do, you know, thank you very much for sending this information. And we hope to do a video in the future because it's, wow, a lot of information. Like I said, she sent me a packet this thick and I'm still trying to read through all of this. But yeah.
Thank everybody for watching. Thank you so much for your encouragement, your comments, those that we react with more closely on Facebook and through Skyping. Thank you so much for allowing us, you know, to come into your homes, to be part of your life, because you're all very much part of our lives too. Kim and I would not be doing this if we didn't feel, you know, the love that's being reciprocated back towards Kim and I.
Or have all the help that we do.
Yeah.
You know, we don't do all this research, everything on our own.
We don't. We actually don't. You know,
we have a lot of help.
Deep Throat helps us a lot. The Unknown Apostate helps
Jerry
us a
Jones
lot.
calls and gives me information.
Helps us a lot.
Mark and Cora. I mean, just so many, you know.
Julian Watson.
Unknown Apostate. You know, and so many of my friends on Facebook who, you know, are sending me all this information.
And you know what? A lot of the information Kim and I have been exposed to, but please don't let that deter you from doing your own research, because there are some things that actually Kim and I have, you know, others have sent us, and it's like, oh man, I've never seen this.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I know how we can use this in the video. So
yeah, so please, don't feel that we know everything, because we don't.
No, we don't. And there again, there would not be a Watchtower Exposed or a Mike and Kim YouTube channel if it wasn't for the efforts of this community, of this, excuse me, this society.
This society. Badass society.
Badass society, according to what my daughter said.
She's like her dad.
Yes, and for those of you that haven't had an opportunity, I'm going to give my daughter a plug here. She wrote an article that we put up on our website, Watchtower.exposed.
Click on blog.
And it's entitled 6 billion points
of reality.
Of reality. And it's really good because what all of us here on YouTube do, we are what the social world calls a facilitator. Sociologists actually labels us as facilitators.
Yeah.
And whether we're a good facilitator or a bad facilitator depends on our approach and whether we think our opinion is the only one that matters.
Yeah. Well, she even says here in the article, because I have it here in front of me, my sole purpose for writing this article is to provide some insight for members of the ex-JW community to assist them in facilitating discussion and characteristics to look for on and identifying who are true facilitators/leaders.
Yeah.
And she goes into this whole thing, and she even says here, a leader is not an expert. They are not the center of attention. They are not an arbiter. And so, like I said, it's about a 3-page article, but it's on Watchtower.exposed. Like I said, just click on blog, and it's 6 billion points of reality. And
it's really, really good. I mean, it's insightful. And
what's interesting is she says, as a facilitator, do you use your power, your responsibility for good or for bad? To help people or to control them. So, like I said, very good article, and that is
so
on there.
We hope that everybody will take a few minutes to read that and ponder over, because these things that Shyla's going to school for is with the purpose of helping people escaping cults.
Yeah.
Helping us, in particular in the ex-JW community, learn how to re-identify who we are. Now, there's a tremendous amount of deprogramming, because you have to get rid of that old Watchtower crap, that old way of thinking, and then we have to reprogram ourselves and try to find out who we are in life.
Yeah, reestablish our foundation, so to speak. So, and believe me, we understand. There's so many leaving right now, and several that have contacted us that aren't quite to the point of getting a nail in the coffin, but they are waking up and learning So, I apologize for all of you that I haven't had a chance to answer your emails yet, because I've been trying to help a lot of people this week and newly out. And for those new subscribers and those newbies, watching, it's like we understand exactly how you're feeling.
No.
Because
the sun's going down here in New Mexico.
Well, it's happy hour.
Yeah.
Happy hour is about when the sun is shining in your face. But, we understand, because your foundation is pulled out from under you and you're lost and you don't know what the heck. It's like, oh, great, what do I do now? And I'll tell you, everybody has those little niggling doubts in their mind when they leave. Oh, what did I do? What if Jehovah's Witnesses are right? So we all get that.
I had them. I struggled with that for months. I'd be on my way to work and, wait a minute, what if Jehovah is God's real name? And then I'd have to, bring myself back to reality. What helps a lot, though, is if you do research, and find out, like, witnesses' history, things that they believe, like this about excommunication and disfellowshipping, any kind of research, JW Facts. And Eric at JW Struggle, he has started a new mini-series that is a big hit, and it's Elders Recollections, and he just uploaded video number 5, and we haven't had a chance to watch that one yet, have we?
So
okay, cool.
After the Super Bowl, we have a
video
to watch.
We'll be watching a video tonight of yours, Eric.
So those help a lot too, so you can see, this never was God's organization. Yeah, and that's the concept that you have to free yourself from.
And and I've said this before, and maybe this is just another good time to restate it. if if God had ever intended to use an organization to get us into the new system of things, then there's two questions you need to ask yourself. Number one, why didn't Christ just fix the Jewish religious
The
system of
original
things?
one.
Right.
Yeah.
God already had an organization in place. Why didn't Christ just simply repair that? And or if God was going to give us an organization this late in date, then Christ was sacrificed for nothing. Because all that means is that, whoa, wait, we'll just wait till God comes up with an organization and we'll follow the organization. We got life. Christ died for nothing.
Yeah, we don't need Christ. We've got the governing body.
Right. So see, those are the things that you need to really learn to deprogram out of your mind, and it does take rereading the Bible, getting a better written Bible than Watchtower's Bible, because that Bible's tainted. And I know a lot of people from talking with a lot of people that have left Watchtower, going back to the older King James. Well, you probably should get the revised one because the Dead Sea Scrolls changed some of those scriptures, not for the worse, but it just made them a little bit more clearer in modern day language. But a lot of people that come out of Watchtower that really want to reread the Bible start off with the King James.
Yeah, and a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses don't know this themselves, but witnesses do not believe that Christ is the mediator for all of you.
Right.
Big shock, Jehovah's Witnesses. You think Christ is your mediator? No, he's not. Just go to your Watchtower library, or even the Worldwide Peace of Security, Prince of Peace,
the Prince of Peace,
Worldwide Security with the Prince of Peace book. It's in your Watchtower library.
Yeah.
Just go to chapter 1. I think it's page 910, paragraph 16. Jehovah's Witnesses believe that Jesus is only the mediator for the 144,000. So that means Jesus, the 144,000 or governing body, and then you.
Yeah.
So the governing body is your mediator, not Jesus Christ.
Not Jesus Christ.
Look it up.
Yeah. So there again, those are some of the things that when you come out of Watchtower, you're going to have to contend with, because those seeds are very nicely planted in the subconscious by Watchtower.
Well,
so that even months after, you're thinking, oh, did I make the right choice? Oh no.
I like to think as Watchtower planting in your mind their beliefs, it's like a mesquite tree. Those stinking roots can go down 100 feet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
So you got a mesquite tree up here in the mind of Jehovah's Witness teachings that is impossible to get rid of. We will have that with us for the rest of our lives.
It's getting close to game time, so I'm going to bid everybody
gotta get our popcorn.
Go watch the Seattle Seahawks lose. Right, Julian?
So you all have a great evening, and for those watching the Super Bowl, enjoy, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.